Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. You ready to explore some seriously cool tech?
Always.
Awesome. Okay, so today we're talking quantum computers and Bitcoin.
Sounds interesting.
Oh, it is. Super interesting, especially because we've got this essay by Yurgo Schneepat to guide us.
Schnepp. Oh, I've heard of him. He always has interesting things to say.
Yeah, and he really gets into the nitty-gritty of how these two technologies, quantum computing and Bitcoin, might collide. And trust me, the implications are huge. But before we dive into all that quantum stuff, let's quickly recap Bitcoin mining, just to make
Mhm.
sure we're all on the same page. Schneepat describes it as this sort of digital gold rush where miners are competing to solve super complex math problems.
Right, the SHA 256 hashing he talks about.
Exactly. And the goal is to add a new block to the blockchain. Whoever cracks the code first gets rewarded with Bitcoin.
And that's a key point. This competition is what keeps Bitcoin secure. Schneepat really emphasizes how this decentralized system works.
No single entity calling the shots. It all comes down to who has the most computing power. Kind of like a giant digital puzzle, right?
Exactly.
But then Schneepat throws in this curveball. What happens when you add a quantum computer to the mix?
Now things get interesting.
Yeah, and it's not just about quantum computers being faster, right? Schneepat explains how they work on totally different principles. Like they tap into the strangeness of quantum mechanics.
Right. It's a whole different ballgame.
Okay, so maybe time for a super quick Quantum 101 crash course. Schneepat mentions all these wild concepts like qubits, superposition, and entanglement. Can you help us wrap our heads around those?
Sure, I'll give it a shot. So imagine a regular computer bit, like a light switch. It's either on or off, representing 1 or 0. But a qubit, think of it like a dimmer switch. It can be on, off, or somewhere in between, representing both 1 and 0 at the same time, and that's superposition.
Whoa, wait, so it's like the bit is in two states at once?
Yep, that's the idea. And then there's entanglement, where two qubits get linked together, like two dancers perfectly mirroring each other's moves. Change one, and the other instantly changes too, no matter how far apart they are. It's pretty mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing is right. Okay, so how does all this quantum weirdness actually affect Bitcoin mining? Schneepat highlights the Grover algorithm as a potential game changer.
Ah, yes, the Grover algorithm.
Hmm.
It's not about breaking the SHA 256 code entirely, but it could dramatically speed up the process of finding that golden knots.
The golden nuns.
Yeah, it's basically the solution to that mining puzzle we were talking about. Schneepat suggests that with Grover, quantum miners could get a significant edge over those using traditional computers.
Got it. So it wouldn't be instant domination, but more like a shift in the balance of power, right?
Exactly. Schneepat's argument is that those with access to these quantum computers could mine Bitcoin way more efficiently. It could create a whole new dynamic in the network.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all fits together. But then Schneepat brings up another algorithm, Shor's algorithm. And this one sounds kind of scary.
It definitely has some serious implications. While Grover speeds up the search, Shor's algorithm could potentially break the encryption that protects Bitcoin transactions.
Hold on, are we talking about someone being able to empty people's Bitcoin wallets with a quantum computer?
That's the theoretical threat, yes. Schnepp acknowledges it, but he also points out that we're not quite there yet. Building a quantum computer powerful enough to actually run Shor's algorithm on Bitcoin's cryptography, that's still a massive challenge.
Okay, so maybe not an immediate threat, but definitely something to keep an eye on.
For sure.
All right, so we've got Grover, the speedster, and Shor, the potential code breaker. But what about the environmental impact of all this? We know Bitcoin mining uses a ton of energy. Does Schneepat see quantum computers as the solution, or could they make things even worse?
That's a really important question. Schneepat suggests that quantum computers might be more energy efficient for certain tasks, but we just don't have enough data yet to know for sure what their impact on Bitcoin mining would be.
Right, it's all still pretty early days in terms of quantum computing development. So much is unknown.
Exactly. But Schneepat brings up some really interesting points about both the potential for increased efficiency and the challenges that could arise as quantum computers become more common.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes this whole discussion so fascinating. It's not just about the technology itself, but about the wider impact it could have on everything from economics to the environment.
Totally agree. And we haven't even scratched the surface of all the potential applications Schneepat discusses in his essay. He really uses Bitcoin mining as a jumping off point to explore these bigger questions.
And those bigger questions are exactly what we're going to delve into after a quick break.
All right, so before the break, we were talking about Schneppat's take on how quantum computers could shake up Bitcoin mining. And yeah, there's a lot to think about there. But he doesn't just stop at Bitcoin, does he?
Nope, not at all. He goes way beyond that. It's like he's saying, hey, if this tech can disrupt something as big as Bitcoin, what else can it do? And that's where things get really interesting.
You're right. Schneppat connects those dots between quantum computing and all these huge societal shifts. He even dives into how quantum computers could revolutionize scientific research.
Oh, yeah, I remember that part. Especially in areas like drug discovery and material science. It's mind-blowing. Like, he talks about how instead of spending years and billions of dollars to develop new drugs, quantum computers could design them way faster, targeting specific diseases.
Exactly. And what about engineering materials with properties we haven't even dreamed of? Stronger, lighter, more efficient.
It's like something straight out of science fiction. But Schneppap presents it all in a way that feels totally possible. Like, this isn't just fantasy, it's the future that's coming. And speaking of the future, what about AI? Artificial intelligence is already changing everything. Did Schneppet talk about how quantum computing could impact that too?
Oh, yeah, definitely. He points out how quantum computers could basically supercharge AI development. Like, picture AI systems that can analyze mountains of data in the blink of an eye with crazy accuracy, and then use that to solve problems that are way too complex for us right now.
It makes you wonder, what kind of breakthroughs could we achieve with that kind of power? Curing diseases, tackling climate change, maybe even solving world hunger. It's almost too much to imagine.
It's pretty amazing to think about. But that's exactly why Schnepphat stresses the importance of proactive measures. He's not just focused on the tech itself. He's thinking about ethics, safeguards, making sure we use this power responsibly.
Right, because like we saw with Bitcoin, there's a flip side to this. In the wrong hands, this tech could have some seriously bad consequences. Schneppad even talks about how the security risk we see with Bitcoin could extend to other critical systems.
Exactly. Banking systems, national security, even our personal data. Schnepphat emphasizes how important it is to develop really robust cybersecurity measures. We need to keep pace with these advancements if we want to stay ahead of the curve.
It's like we're in this race against time, right? We need those quantum-resistant defenses before someone figures out how to use this power for the wrong reasons.
It is a huge responsibility. But Schnepphat also sees this as an incredible opportunity. Like, we have the chance to use this tech for good, to actually address some of the biggest challenges facing humanity. It's up to us to make sure that happens.
So it's not all doom and gloom then. It's more like a wake-up call, right?
Right.
A push to innovate, to work together to make sure this quantum revolution actually leads us towards a better future.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Schnepphat doesn't pretend to have all the answers, but he gives us a framework for understanding this crazy, complex landscape.
Right. His essay is an awesome starting point. And I have to say, that's what I love about these deep dives. We get to take a deep dive into a subject, but it always leaves me wanting more. You know, it's like opening a door to a whole new world.
Definitely. That's the amazing thing about knowledge. It's a journey that never really ends. And what Schnepphat has done is he's sparked our curiosity. He's given us this incredible starting point to understand the quantum revolution and how it might affect us.
And he leaves us with some seriously big questions to think about. Like, what can we do now to prepare for this future? What skills will we need? What kind of world do we even want to create with this technology?
Those are great questions, and Schnepphat definitely wants us to wrestle with them. He's not giving us easy answers, that's for sure. He wants us to really engage with these ideas, to think critically, to be creative.
It's not just about the techie stuff. It's about the impact on society,
Yeah.
the ethical questions. It's about us. You know, we're not just building machines. We're shaping the future.
Exactly. That's what makes this so fascinating. We're not just watching this happen, we're part of it. Schneppat's essay is a call to action. It's like he's inviting us to help shape this quantum future.
Okay, so we've covered a ton today. From how quantum computers could disrupt Bitcoin mining to the possibility of revolutionizing science and AI. We even talked about cybersecurity and geopolitics. It's quite a journey.
It has. I really hope our listeners are as intrigued by all of this as we are. Schneppat's essay is a great place to start for anyone who wants to learn more.
Absolutely. So, to everyone listening, we'll leave you with this final thought from Jurgo Schneeberg. The quantum future is being written right now, and we all have a part to play in shaping it. What will your role be? So before we wrap up, I want to circle back to quantum supremacy for a sec. It's such a fascinating concept, the point where quantum computers can pull off calculations that are just impossible for even the most powerful traditional computer, like Schnepp had said, Google's Sycamore processor back in 2019. Solve that complex problem in minutes, something that would have taken a regular supercomputer thousands of years. It's a pretty big deal.
It is, and Schnepp takes it even further. He brings up something really important, the geopolitical side of things. Think about it. If this quantum advantage keeps growing, as he says it will, who's going to be in control? Which countries? Which organizations? Because whoever holds that power, they're going to have massive influence economically, politically, on a global scale.
Yeah, it's almost like a new kind of arms race, you know?
Yeah.
But instead of weapons, it's all about who has the most powerful quantum computer. The stakes are insanely high.
Absolutely. And just like with any really powerful technology, Schnepp reminds us about ethics. Like, how do we make sure that quantum computing is used for good? For everyone's benefit, not just a select few. We really need to be asking ourselves these questions right now.
It's a lot to process, all of this. We're
Yes.
talking about Bitcoin mining, scientific breakthroughs, AI, cybersecurity, even geopolitics. Schneppat's essay really covers a lot of ground.
It does, but that's what makes it so thought-provoking. He doesn't shy away from how complex this all is. He
Yeah.
shows us the challenges, yeah, but also the possibilities. And ultimately, I think he leaves us with a sense of hope and a call to action.
I agree. This deep dive into Schneppat's work has definitely given us a lot to think about. We're on the edge of a new era, a truly transformative one, and quantum computing's at the very center of it all.
It is. And like Schnepp emphasizes, we have to engage with this technology. We have to be thoughtful, proactive, and make sure we're shaping the future we want to see.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So, to all our listeners, as we wrap up this deep dive, here's one final thought from Schneppat that really stuck with me. The quantum future is being written right now, and we all have a role to play in shaping it. What will your role be? Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
It's been a pleasure. Until next time.